check 1 2. Hopefully I got audio coming through. It's been a little while, so I no longer know what I'm doing. Not that I ever knew what I was doing. How we doing, everybody? Good morning to everybody who watches this live. Otherwise, if you watch it later, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Let's have some coffee. I hope everybody's doing all right out there. As I said, it's been a little while, and I got the urge to play some Atari this morning, and I thought, well, let's play it on camera, because I got a new Video61 game. This is not the new Video61 game. This, of course, is Venture, which is a highly recommended Video61 release. And if you're not aware of what Video61 is, I'll explain it as we kind of get started here. But I did pick up this Robot Holocaust by Video61 for the Atari 7800 Pro system. It's a game I've played a bit of it already, and we're going to play it here in a second. But anytime I think Video61, I think Venture, or their version of Venture. Hopefully the audio's coming through. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up out there. If not, then this will be an awkward silent intro. So, Video61, for those who don't know, is a sort of, I guess it's a homebrew development house second, and maybe a retail distribution sort of thing first. They were, back in the day, an authorized Atari distributor. And then when things kind of went upside down for Atari in the 90s and they liquidated stuff, several people, several companies, several entities bought out a lot of the new old stock stuff by the pallet load. And Video61 was one of those companies that bought pallets and pallets of brand new sealed Atari product. You can go to Video61 Atari sales. I believe it's video61.com, but if you type it into your Google thing, it'll take you right there, and they have a lot of cool old stock Atari games if you're looking for that. Usually at better prices than eBay too, which is the way I recommend doing it. I've bought several 7800, 2600 games through them before. So this is a release that we're showing on the screen right now from Video61 that is, I don't know, I wanted to say quite old now. I guess it's 2021. So it's about 4 or 5 years old. If you don't know what Venture is, Venture was a sort of room-to-room arcade shooter. You play as, God, what was it? He had a goofy name. I can't remember now. But you play as a little happy-faced guy with a bow, and you kind of shoot enemies. What's cool about the Video61 release here, programmed by Peter J. Meyer, and of course, released by Lance Ringquist, who is the owner of Video61, is that you have several different modes here. You can play the arcade original, which has the same 4 levels that you would expect. They've released an XLXE version that had added 1 more level and I think 4 new rooms. And then the 7800 has yet another new level and room. So I like to play the 7800 mode. Hopefully the audio levels are fine. Don't kill me while I adjust the audio, please. Thank you. Hopefully we can hear the game and me. That might be a little too low now. Let me shoot these guys. So you go to room, and each room is like a goblin room. You might have a ghost room, I forget, a Medusa room and whatnot. And you kind of clear the room and get the treasures. And you have to do it quickly because you have the hallway monsters that will enter and try to take you down. This, again, I used to love the 2600 red box version, which I think was simply the Coleco version, just re-released under Atari. But this was such a huge update that I have not played the 2600 version since. Which that would be an interesting thing to do, is to go back and try to play the 2600 version and see. I know it's a lot worse than this one, or a lot slower and less. This just has all the benefits of the 7800, you know. So yes, Video61 is a great place to get new old stock stuff, but they do these homebrew games too, and most of them are programmed by Peter J. Meyer. Peter is a guy that does a lot of, I want to say a lot of ports, but he puts his own spin on a lot of them. So you'll see games that you might recognize if you were an arcade goer in the 80s. Things like he has his own version of Zookeeper. He calls Animal Keeper. He has, instead of Alpha Race, he has Delta Space Arena and stuff like that. So he just seems to like to put his own take on some of this stuff that makes it easy to kind of, if you're familiar with the arcade games, easy to know what game he is porting, but it's different enough that if you want a direct port, it might feel a little off to you. This game does not feel off, though. I think as far as Venture goes, he made an excellent port of Venture. This is the game, like, if you want to get a Video61 game, I would get this. The other thing about Video61 is they don't have their ROMs really out there. So if you want to play, like, this port adventure, it's not dumped anywhere that I know of. So you kind of got to go to the website and buy the cartridges, which, I mean, it sucks if you want to use the flash cart, if you have the game drive or whatever. But it's, you know, it's still kind of cool that, you know, it feels very old school. You got to go buy the cartridge and stuff. Again, I'll show the packaging again in a minute because the packaging is very different from everything else out there. You're not going to confuse a Video61 release for an actual retail game. Let's put it like that. Alright, let's just go. We gotta go. Gotta go fast, guys. Hey, if you're watching this and you're enjoying the gameplay, don't forget to hit the like button. That will help other people find this video in the future. So, while we play this a little bit, I've been gone off the internet for a little while. I looked at my analytics. It's been over 2 months, I think, probably going on 2.5, 3 months now since my last upload, and I do apologize. The intention was not to go that long without an upload, but it kind of just happened like that. I think well, not many, but a few of you know I took on, that's a hard room to go through. That's where they warp all around. That one always gives me a little trouble, usually not this early on. But yeah, it's been a little while. I got a new job. I wanted to focus on that because it was an excellent opportunity. I wanted to make sure I got situated. For those that don't know, I really focused on the channel for a long time, and I had a previous job that I feel like I focused too much on the channel, not enough on my 9 to 5 that actually pays the bills. And so I kind of got into an issue there. So I wanted to make sure I started right with this job. I knew I was going to take some time off of the channel. But the whole time, I intended to come back and not leave as long as I actually have from the channel. Again, it's been going on 3 months, and that is a long time not to put anything out on YouTube. Algorithm measured time, I guess. But I think it was good because burnout is very real, especially on YouTube. You get kind of stuck in the cycle. You can turn it off, but I have comments that go right to my phone. So you read all the dumb stuff that people write, and it becomes a whole negative experience. Plus, setting a schedule. I started out doing 2 videos a week, and then I moved to 1, I believe, and then after that, it was kind of like whenever. But it's taxing. It takes a lot out of you, especially if this is not like your primary thing that you're going to do. So I was getting quite burned out before, and I had taken breaks before, but none quite this long. And I actually think it's a good thing because you come back refreshed, you come back kind of clear, thinking more clear, you know, not having that grind of always having to put out content and try to think of stuff. I think you end up putting out stuff that nobody asked for, but you feel, ooh, that was just bad. But you feel obligated to put something out, so you put, you know, whatever out. So I plan on, I'm already working on our next video, which is actually related to this gameplay that we'll get into in a second here. Because as I said at the intro, Video61 has released a new game called Robot Holocaust, and we'll talk about that and actually play it on the stream. But I plan on reviewing that as our next video here. Let's see. So we got the Witch Room. Again, what I like about this game and the Video61 port in general is all the neat rooms. You got the different enemies. You got the trap rooms, and then you got rooms like this, which eventually will have its own trap. And then you have to be quick because I don't think I've had it happen yet, but the hallway monsters, which is this screen, those guys will come into the room if you take too long, and they are invincible. So kind of like Berserk a little bit. Alright, let's grab the torch. And then we'll see if we can get the mummy here. Alright, we might see a hallway monster here. Nope, made it out. You're also racing against the clock, because you can see next to bonus it says 7. That eventually counts down 2, and you get a lower and lower bonus if you take too long. So you want to kind of move quickly, briskly. A lot of things pushing you forward. Oh, eye itches, which keeps things interesting in my opinion. And again, I don't think we've made it to the developer screens yet. So this would all be in the arcade, I believe. Or on the 2600 version, if you're like me, that's what you played. I think this would be the 4th. Let's see. Yeah, so I think this is the first Video61 added. Well, no, wait. Did I not set it? Or am I just dumb? Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't remember. It's been a little while. I could refer to my laminated sheet that Video61 provides with every release that explains their games. If you haven't seen it, Vinny Vineyard over at Big and Funky Productions did a video all about laminated sheets from Video61. It's kind of a little cheeky nod, but they are neat. It's a neat way of doing your manuals and stuff. And hey, if you spill your coffee while you're streaming on it. Hey, Retro Bliss, good to see you. Appreciate you popping on and watching a little bit of the stream. Retro Bliss, if you don't know, he's another, I'm sure anybody watching this would know, but another big Atari guy here on YouTube and does some great stuff. Enjoy watching his stuff too. Subscribe to him if you haven't. But hopefully everybody that would watch this would be subscribed to Mr. Bliss Gaming's YouTube channel. Let's see. So we're gonna play this just maybe a little bit longer. I feel like, was it 2 map? The 2600 version I know had even less than, and maybe in Bliss in the comments can help me with this. But I think that had very few screens on it in general, because I remember the 2600 version cycling through the levels a lot more, I think. No, this is all Atari 7800 homebrew. But yes, Retro Bliss asked if this was a 5200 or 7800 version. So the thing about Video61 is they do release multiple versions of their games on several Atari platforms. So if you're a 5200 guy or XE, XL computer player, they got you covered because they release a lot of their games on multiple platforms. I can't say that all versions are equal. I feel like the 7800 versions are superior in a lot of ways, but I know that you can get these on any platform. So if you get Venture from Peter J. Meyer and Video61 on the 5200, you'll get the XE, XL levels added, but it won't have the 7800 levels. A nice thing about the 7800 version is you get his added XE, XL 5200 levels and the 7800 levels. Venture Reloaded that Atari Age used to sell. Yeah, I had not tried that one. I always played the red box version as a kid, as a young man, if you would. So I forgot completely. Yeah, Atari Age had a reloaded version that I'm sure was probably excellent. What's so great about the Atari homebrew community and the Atari community in general is the amount of stuff, the passion that gets put out onto these systems. They remake these games, even games that were available previously, like Venture. They do a reloaded version on the 2600 that adds so much to it, and it's just a lot of fun. Like I ignored the homebrew side of Atari for a long time. And if you are one of those people that says, yeah, I just want to collect the actual games, you're really doing a disservice. Because the homebrew stuff is so much fun, and the stuff they get out of the console anymore is just incredible. It took me up until COVID, I think, to start looking into the homebrew scene of Atari, and I'm glad I did, because it's a lot of fun. The homebrew games are a ton of fun. So Venture, if you go to Video61 Atari sales, again, pop it into Google. I think it's video61.com. Lance Ringquist, who runs it, is a great, fantastic guy who had a lot of foresight to buy these pallets of Atari games and make sure that they are available for years to come. He is starting to sell out of a lot of stuff on the website, but he still has stuff he hasn't gone through, to my understanding. He's even finding one-of-a-kind prototypes and cartridges in his pallets that he purchased. So check him out. He's a great guy. Peter has, if you're interested, he has like a Facebook group you can join. You can do that if you want. Peter's an alright guy. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, Lance had a lot of good foresight to save these pallets of old stock Atari games. And again, I did a video not that long ago to see how many actual 7800 games you could get for $200, I think it was. And I utilized things like Video61 Atari sales, and there's also Best Electronics, which I think gets a bad rap too. So a lot of cool stuff, and you can see, as I said last time, we were in the which room. They add a trap now to this room. You'll see another trap added in the Frankenstein room. So again, as you kind of play through, even though things cycle around, it gets quite a bit more challenging, and it's always appreciated because Atari is all about overcoming challenges. Alright, I would like to switch cartridges now because there is one game I need to play for our upcoming review here. So the screen's going to go black for a second as we switch our cartridges. And again, the cool thing about these is you can't just download the ROM and get them. They've taken a lot of, I guess, pride in the fact that you can't just download a ROM, you gotta buy the games, which is very old school. It's what us old Atari fans like. So next we're gonna play Robot Holocaust, and while we put this in and let it boot up in the old 7800 plus, to blow the dust off the 7800 plus, I'm just kidding, it's new. So you'll notice that, again, Video61 games, the homebrew games at least, so if you buy the old new stock, they come as expected. They come in these little square boxes. I put an end label on them. I use a label maker. But you'll just get them, and it's kind of got a paper front glued to it, and then you kind of got a backing as you would expect. Quite a bit smaller. Let me grab, if I have one handy. So this is Muddy Vision. Muddy Vision, a great homebrew company that releases stuff through Atari Age, and now I think some stuff through Opcode. So this is a full-size box, and this is Video61. Of course, Atari Age and Muddy Vision, by extension, uses real boxes. So you get these little square boxes, which, depending, again, if you want everything uniform, I guess it's not great, but 7800 has always had some weird boxes. They had a lot of their other games coming out in big, at least through Absolute, I think it was, and like big computer game size boxes of the time. But also inside the box, you just get kind of this. I keep the bubble wrap in them. There's nothing else inside, and you'll get usually 2, if not more, laminated sheets. That Video61. I think that one's for well, 5200 game. But Musky Attack was a cool one that you got. It kind of had, oh my goodness, a tip sheet with it. You turn the tip sheet around, and you got some more stuff. And the Musky Attack in every cartridge. Give me 1 second here. Also comes with a little comic that is hand illustrated by somebody over at Video61, which is awesome. And they usually connect them to other games, and then on the back of the comic usually have the instructions and stuff. And they've also been adding a lot of feelies, 3D printed type things, little trophies and whatnot. So they try to go above and beyond and really give you your money's worth. And again, I appreciate that. They experiment a lot too on this cartridge for Venture. You can see the labels they're kind of non-glossy paper. My Venture label has been kind of lifting up at the top ever since I got it. It's just because I don't think they ran the glue all the way to the edge. Thank you so much, Retro Bliss. I appreciate that. Yep, have a good one. But yeah, they do that, and then they also experimented with like some raised end labels. So if we get to it, my copy of Tile Smashers has like a raised label, which was kind of neat, and they've seemed to have gone back to the paper labels, which is not too great. But so this is Robot Holocaust. This is their newest never mind the clicking game that they released, and this is a little bit, it feels like a higher profile release for them, because you got a couple story panels here. It tells you about Pete Argon's stunning victory over the Amok Bots, which I believe was a 5200 exclusive homebrew that Video61 released. And you kind of get this, they try to do a pseudo three-dimensional thing here, which was kind of neat. Again, they seem to have really gone above and beyond for this release. I have, just FYI, I have played this before. It is programmed by Peter J. Meyer. Lance Ringquist is, and Video61 is the publisher, you could say. And then they had some help in the art department as well. I got the opportunity to play this 2-player with a friend, and it's actually, I gotta tell you, 2 players where it's at for this game. Let's get into it and we'll kind of talk about it. So this is Robot Holocaust. You play as this orange shirt guy. You shoot the robots. And the way it controls is you move around obviously with the D-pad. And when you shoot, you hold down the button and press whatever direction you want to shoot in. So if you want to, and you can shoot in 8 directions, which is nice, instead of just 4. So it's got some nice elements. The shooting took a while to get a hang of. I had somebody helped me collect the 2-player footage for the upcoming review, and it takes some getting used to. I think especially if you don't play Atari games or video games, I guess, a lot. That most people would expect just to hit the button and shoot. I think this style of shooting works. Holding down the button and kind of pointing in the direction, but it made me think that this game could have been like a twin-stick shooter, and I tried plugging in 2 controllers, or and seeing if it worked that way, and it doesn't. I think that's a missed opportunity here for Peter and Vince to make this like a twin-stick if you're in 1 player. Obviously, the 2-player is a big component for this game, Robot Holocaust, but I think, in 1 player it would have been neat to play this as like a twin-stick shooter. We have a couple twin-stick shooters on the console, but it'd be nice to add another one. Especially since you can get like specialized Robotron 2084 controllers. They'll work for Robotron and what was the other game? There's another twin-stick game that came out from Atari Age. That's annoying right there, too. If you're too close to a wall and you try to shoot, you get, it clips through the wall, and it makes this awful noise right there. So what are you doing in this game? Well, you are clearing the rooms of robots. It kind of reminds me of Berserk. And I think Berserk is kind of used as the base, but you don't have like a crazy auto guy coming around trying to kill you if you spend too long in the rooms. You can also see once a room is clear, it's clear, and you're kind of moving through what essentially is a randomly generated 6x6 grid of rooms. And you're trying to go through each room until clearing them out. You don't have to clear them out all the way, but I find it's easier. Oh, God. I find it's easier if you clear them out to kind of know where you've been and where you haven't been. You do have the odd laser trap once in a while. And you have, I think, 8 different enemy types. Now, I think you only ever have up to 2 different types of enemies in a room. It's like this room, we have the skulls and the drones, but you can have many of those too in a room. So here we got the turrets and the R2-D2 looking things. And it's quite a bit of fun, again, in 2-player especially. We had a blast. Good morning, Cafe Man 2D. Woke up with the urge to stream this morning, so thank you for joining us. This is Robot Holocaust from Video61. So we're playing some Video61 homebrews this morning. I'm making a triumphant return to making videos, and I'm going to be making a review of this game coming up soon. I was hoping to have the review out already, but this week we had a lot of things come up that was unexpected. My son got in a car accident, so we had to kind of deal with that. He is a new driver. He had only been driving for a month. And that kind of, prevented me from getting the video done, among other things. And luckily my son's okay, and that's all that really matters. But it did put a delay on getting this video done. But as you can see, I just picked up a gun pickup. So there are 2 different pickups, and here's the other one. You have the gun, which makes it so instead of like 4 shots, it takes 1 or 2 shots to destroy an enemy. And then this is the med pack that fills up your life bar. You can see is denoted by those arrows. Oh, here's our first boss. So each level has a unique boss, which is also neat. And they have their own behaviors. So some of them seem to run away from you. Some seem to bum rush you. Some try to keep like a certain distance and a certain angle from you, which is kind of neat too. I really appreciate that. Again, I feel like as far as Video61 goes, this game is pretty fun and unique for their library, but there is some major issues that kind of keep it from being a 5-star game, let's put it like that. But it is a lot of fun in 2-player. I do recommend 2-player the most. I did have an opportunity to play with somebody in 2-player, and you know, it's not that it's a whole lot different. It's just having another person here makes it a lot more fun, more competitive about getting your points and whatnot. If you run into these lasers, it drains your health and holds you in place. It will pretty much drain your whole life bar, is what I found. I mean, if you have full life, you'll live with just a sliver. But you want to avoid those at all costs. And there are some odd options. So that's the only environmental trap that I have found, is the laser grids there, the little laser beam. But you have the option in the menu screen to turn those off completely. And seeing as how that's the only obstacle, that feels like a weird option to me. It'd be like if you're playing another game and it's like, do you want to turn off half of the challenge? I understand that's kind of what easy and normal difficulties usually do, is tone down the challenge and maybe remove some harder obstacles, but it still feels weird to me. But overall, I think this is a fun game, especially, again, I can't stress it enough, multiplayer. I do like the enemy sprites. Again, those are drones, and you can kind of see what they're going for there. The enemies look pretty good. There's a nice variety, 8 different enemies. I think there's... I know, here's another boss. Okay, that's the one that bum rushes you. He wasn't much of a boss. He went down about at like a normal enemy. The last boss definitely gave us more trouble. Shoot, hold on. This chair. Oof, I had to move some things around on this new chair. I couldn't keep my old chair. It's uncomfortable. Here's the other thing with the randomly generated rooms. So this is the very next boss. So with it being randomly generated, it generated the boss above the first room. So that kind of stinks. That's happened to me twice now. This boss sits in place and just generates enemies. Again, he can get out of hand if you let him. The bosses, one I played before, were generally a little tougher. They seem to be pushovers right now. Again, as far as items go, you just have the med pack and the gun upgrade, and that is it. So, this is Robot Holocaust, Video61's newest offering. I will have a full review out. But what do we think of the game? It's fun. I think it's a good game that works well. It's a fun homebrew by Peter and Video61. I prefer Venture. I think Venture is still their top homebrew game that they've released on the 7800. But this one ain't bad. It's a nice little Berserk-inspired thing that you can play if you so desire. But again, Video61 has a couple other games that we can play through here. One of their better ones, I believe, is Animal Keeper. If you haven't played Zookeeper, Animal Keeper is a port of that, and it's basically a game where you have to keep animals in an enclosure. So we'll give that one a go as one of their better games. Kind of help promote Video61. Again, if you're looking for 2600 games, 7800 games, 5200 XE, XL computer stuff, 8-bit stuff, Video61 has a ton of new old stock stuff at usually cheaper than eBay prices, and that's really what I've utilized Video61 for a lot in the last however many years. But the homebrews are a nice little cherry on top. So here we have Animal Keeper, Video61 version. Jesus Christ. Atari 7800 version. They release a lot of their games on XEXL and also on 5200. So you always got a few options here. I think this plays better in this mode, but let's see. So you kind of race around the edge, and you want to build up your walls so the animals don't get out, but they will attempt to run into the walls and escape. And they will escape. Like, you're not going to keep them in the whole time. You can run, you know, basically one way or the other, and that's it. You can't go anywhere else. For these first few levels, I just basically run circles. The net helps you catch them and knock them back in. And then if they get out, you jump over them for some points. You get stronger animals and faster animals as the game goes on. And you also get some nice side-scrolling screens to help, what do you want to say, add some variety, spice of life. Again, programmed by Peter Meyer. He did a pretty good job on this. Champ Games has an excellent 2600 version. And that's probably the way to go, but I'll tell you what, this one isn't bad either, and I actually have had a lot of fun playing this one. I know it ain't going to be the most exciting to watch, especially in these earlier levels. We probably should have maybe started at a more difficult level, but we'll give it a few goes here. We'll see if we can't make it to a side-scrolling screen, and then we'll check out some other stuff. Yes, we have a new review coming to the channel. We're going to start putting out more reviews and stuff, and some more videos in general. Atari 7800 has always been one of my favorite consoles. I'm a weird guy, I guess, because, you know, everybody, when it comes to retro, they like, you know, the quote-unquote good stuff, I guess. But I like the 7800. I think it's just been an underutilized console, and it's getting some time in the spotlight now, which I like. I hope they do a lot with the spotlight. That's kind of what worries me. I seen Tiger Heli got delayed. It says, for a long time it said July, and now it says August, so I assume something had to have happened that delayed its release, which, not thrilled with. But I'd love to see Atari just continue to release 7800 stuff, because 7800 is so cool, so much fun. Just my favorite, one of my favorite all-time consoles. My other being the original Xbox, so that should tell you something. I'm a guy that likes 7800 and original Xbox over things like NES and Master System and PS2, I guess. So I think that puts me in a weird category of, like, I don't want to say counterculture, but just liking stuff that's generally unliked or underappreciated. But yeah, this is Animal Keeper. Zookeeper in the arcades is what this game is mimicking. Oh, we got a visitor from South Africa. 5200 is great too. Absolutely love the 5200. I got that sitting behind me. 5200 was underappreciated too, and I feel a lot of that was Atari's fault. Why the 5200 failed. I mean, obviously it's all on the person that creates, not the person, but the entity, company that creates and markets and sells the consoles. It's up to them to make it a success one way or another. But I feel like the 5200 didn't get a fair shake. Like, it feels like they released it out of obligation and then never really gave it its day. Although they tried. Oh wow, he's live. Good morning, Braylon. Glad to see you. Yes, we're live. Woke up this morning. I've been working on Video61's Robot Holocaust, which we just played review, and was going to play that anyway. And I thought this would be fun to go live. But yeah, it's good to talk to you again, Braylon. You can see there, we got one animal that escaped, so I jumped over it, and that pushed it into the cage, which is nice. Nice and easy and fun. I think after this level, we get a side-scrolling level, and then we'll look at a couple other different games here. As I said, Video61, for those that don't know and might be joining in, a great place for if you're buying new old stock Atari stuff, but also if you're interested in homebrew. They kind of have their own little homebrew development house here with Peter J. Meyer. Oh, this is a fun part too, where it kind of reminds me of the Madden game where the ambulance would run over the players. But yeah, ambulance pulling onto the screen. Nice little touch. I like that. Yeah, I want to do some more live streaming too. I like live streaming with you guys. We can do more evening stuff. There was a time where I was working evenings, not so much anymore. So I'm thinking, is the new missile command out yet? Does anybody know? Because if it is, I'm thinking of streaming that a couple nights a week with you guys, kind of playing some of the newer stuff off of the VCS and whatnot. I think would be a lot of fun. But yeah, let's see, just a couple more, maybe a minute or two, and we can look at the side-scrolling portion. The side-scrolling portion is, like I said, it's nice to break up the monotony of the game. But I feel like it's definitely not as well thought out as one would think. And I think this main part of the game is much, much better. I switched over to Monster. I should have changed the title to just Sippin whatever I have near me, because I drank all my coffee and now I look like a dummy. It's going to be Sippin Monster during the video. Well, that was the wrong time to drink. I don't think you get to try that again. So, but that was the side-scrolling portion. Jesus Christ. That was the side-scrolling portion. You gotta jump over the animals and kind of get up to the person at the top. So we have a few other games, Video61 games we can play here. We got Tile Smashers, which was their Pong-style game that I was looking forward to for quite a long time. That finally released. We got Mega Oids. I haven't played much Mega Oids. Let's check out Mega Oids. Because this... So... Again, for those that might not know, the Atari 7800 has a fantastic port of Asteroids. And I think anytime somebody, whether it's Video61 or Robert DeCrescenzo or anybody releases an Asteroids-based style game, I think that's kind of... It takes a lot of guts, because the original was so good. And I'll be honest, if you want an Asteroids game on the 7800, the original Asteroids that's built into the European ROM and everything, that's the way to go, because it's still the best in my opinion. But this is Mega Oids, so this is Peter J. Meyer and Lance Ringquist's attempt at Asteroids and putting their own spin on it. And again, what's nice in the options menu here, you can kind of change what each button does. So, or not each button, but down on the D-pad, and the second button does. So you can have them both do nothing. You can have down flip you, so if you're facing up, it'll flip you to down. And you can have one be reversed. So we're going to do down is flip, button 2 is reverse. And so, if this is a little loud, it seems a little ear piercing to me, but maybe I'm wrong. But let me know. So this is their take on Asteroids. And the thing is, like, they give you a shield so you can take multiple hits, which is fine. I mean, I understand. And they kind of add different elements to it. But I don't think it's bad at all. I just, again, the original was so good. I think it's so interesting to try to port a new, or make a new Asteroids for the 7800. So again, if we hit down, we face the other way, no matter what way we're facing. And then if we hit the other button, we go in the other direction. So that's kind of the setups. Now, given that you hit forward to propel, I maybe should have made down reverse, and maybe the button kind kind of flip you, that might have made more sense. They also added various pickups. Okay, that's what. Thank you, Cafe Man. That's kind of what I needed to know. Oops, I died while I was looking at that. So, they did add quite a bit to this. And I think originally this was a 5200 Video61 release. And they kind of did a port to... Let's make the second button stop, actually. And they did a port to the 7800, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, having it out in multiple consoles is great, especially if you have taken the time to get it working. Because I know the 7800 and 5200 are very different beasts. But it made a lot of sense to release a Asteroid-style game on the 5200 because that was sorely missing on that console. And not so much on the 7800, though, in my opinion. Again, thank you so much, Cafe Man, for letting me know that. But this ain't bad. It plays good. Video61 games tend to be a little chunky with their pixels and the sprites and stuff. Not pixels, I guess, but with the sprites. And it's cool. They have their own unique style, which is cool. Oh my goodness, trying to do this with one hand. So now I've set it so that down is reverse and forward obviously propels you forward as it would in any game. And I think that feels more natural. Yep, all these games are from programmed. I mean, there's a few that aren't programmed by Peter, but they're all programmed by Peter and released by Lance over at Video61. So, and they don't put out their ROMs. You can't really download the ROMs or purchase the ROMs separately. You got to get them on the cartridges, which again is fun. It's nice, and they're not overpriced. They have them at $39.99 on his website. So I think it's fine the way he does it. But you get stuff like this too, where you see the stuff on the screen kind of got stuck there. Just some oddities there. But yeah. We have a few other games I haven't played too much. I know I've reviewed, I think Delta Space Arena I played quite a bit, and I was a little harsh on that game. And I know it kind of hurt Peter's feelings. Peter's very passionate about the games he puts out, which is great. You want people to really stand behind what they did, but I feel like too I take criticism. You gotta be able to take criticism too, which Peter does. But Nova Wolf came out, I think, at a similar time to Delta Space Arena, and that's one I haven't played too much. So we'll give that one a go here, and I think you'll recognize too, like I said early on in the video, a lot of his games are not direct ports, but kind of his take on these classic arcade games. So he'll add kind of his own elements. A lot of options here for Nova Wolf. I like the little wolf head on the screen. Let's see. So yes, we want enemy ships, shooters, 4 sides, yes, moving angles 90 degrees. You could do 45 too. Back grid, yes. Alignment, yes. Walls, no. We'll just leave everything at default. How about that? There you go. I forget. I haven't played this in a little while, but I've never been... I thought we'd hit no on walls. Oh well. I've never been very good at... I forget what this game really is actually called if you had it. Fox? Is it something Fox? But it is a challenge. Like if you're looking... Why did I do that? If you're looking for a challenge, this is a very challenging game. Lots of obstacles. It takes so many hits though to blow up the enemies, and that's kind of I didn't mind too much the amount of hits to take out the enemies, but I know it bothered Vinny quite a bit. Solar Fox, thank you. Yes, this is Solar Fox for all intents and purposes. With a, like I said, Peter puts his own spin on these things. But for all intents and purposes, this is Solar Fox by CBS Games. Thank you so much. So there, we cleared a level, and then we died immediately. But this game, I prefer this. So if I had to recommend, I prefer this to Delta Space Arena. And I only compare the two, or say that because I think they came out pretty close to each other from Video61 here at least. But I just dove right for that thing. This one isn't too bad. I recommend this one if you enjoy Solar Fox. If you don't, I wouldn't go for it. And it's obviously it's not a one-for-one port, but it's close. Oh, thank you so much, Braylon. $1.99 super chat from Braylon. Always appreciated. Never expected. Glad to see you streaming again. Well, thank you. I'm glad to be streaming again. Again, we took a long break. I had said it earlier, but we were taking on a new job, and I think there's a little bit of burnout. But I've been meaning to come back for quite a while. I didn't realize how much time had actually passed. And again, thank you so much, Braylon. I appreciate the support as always. I hadn't realized how much time had actually passed since my last video, since streaming. I was shocked when I went into the analytics. And time really gets away from you. But I do have a video I'm working on now, which is a Video61 review for Robot Holocaust, which we played a little bit of earlier. But that's going to be the first video back, and then we'll just take it from there and kind of do things organically. Probably do a few reviews, and then we'll probably do a feature. I got a few ideas still of videos I've been wanting to do. Topics I want to talk about. I was hoping to make Tiger Heli the first review back, but Tiger Heli looks like it's delayed. Initially it had a July release estimate, and now it looks like it's August, which maybe that's old news. I don't know. I hadn't kept up on it, but that's one I'm really looking forward to. Oh goodness. I feel like Tiger Heli, that could be a great game for the console. Do you have ROM cart to try demos for 52? Yes. Yep, I have the game drive. I have quite a few ROM carts. I did a video talking about the game drive for the 7800. I do have a 5200 cart. I forget what the name of that one is. It's not a game drive or anything like that. But yeah, I do have that, so I can try out demos and stuff. As I said, Video61 stuff, they don't put out their ROMs, which is interesting. Their games are all cartridge only, so you have to have the actual physical cartridge. Yep, looking forward to Tiger Heli, absolutely. That's an important release, I think, and it's probably going to have some long-reaching ramifications for what Atari does in the future with their 7800 Plus and their just Plus line in general. I think Tiger Heli needs to sell fairly well for them to continue pursuing licenses and games and things for the 7800. And you might ask, why is that? Because there's a lot of other games coming out too, especially if you have not been following Atari Age. They have Atari Super Circus, they have a couple others. Was it Countermeasure 2? I can't think of the other. one or two off the top of my head. But a couple 7800, and I'm talking mainly 7800 too, for those, if I didn't make that clear. The thing about Tiger Heli is it's the only game out of this upcoming release that is all new, something that had to have been programmed completely. I don't know if from scratch is the right way to say it, but just it had to be developed. And I think Atari is going to look at that as probably being one of the most expensive games to make to this point. I don't know by how much. I don't think it costs a whole lot for them to make these Atari games anymore. But it still incurred probably more costs. And if it is not successful, I think that Atari is going to take that as, well, we do better just re-releasing the old Atari age stuff and re-releasing our old games. So why take the time and effort to do things like Tiger Heli? So I think how well Tiger Heli sells is going to be very important for the future of the Plus line of consoles and how Atari does things moving forward. So at least if you're not sure what to get, if you do have an Atari 7800 Plus, you're not sure what to get, not only does Tiger Heli look like one of the more interesting and approachable titles from the bunch, it's also the lone completely new title. And I think supporting that is important if you have the means and you're able to. I think it'll send a clear message to Atari that you know, these are the kind of games we want, that it's worth the time and investment to get the license. And who knows what they could do in the future too. They could get the license for Pac-Man and do the Pac-Man Plus. I've been hesitant to order from Atari Age recently because there seems to be a huge backlog of orders. That's one thing I want to make a video on, is what's going on with Atari Age right now. But I feel like I need to tread lightly there. I mean, I don't. To anybody who has gotten one of those backlog, like you've gotten your games in the mail, I think it's evident that there's something going on there, but we can talk about that more later. So this is Musky Attack for Video61, and they were, like I said, they had these 3D printed, I don't know if you can tell, but raised labels as opposed to like the paper labels, and I really like that. I don't know. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. It can be a concern as a buyer. I think it's okay to criticize or to not just blindly like something just because. And I think it's okay to be hesitant to order because of that backlog. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of that. You have to, when you put in your order, you have to understand that you're going to tie up your money for quite some time before you see any sort of return on it, as in return in just seeing your product. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with being hesitant to order or anything like that. So this is Musky Attack, and this is sort of a fishing game. You have to get your fish hooked onto the line and then bring them up to the dock before the mean old muskie there comes and eats your hooked fish. Now this is another game that's better in 2-player, but it's still a fine fishing derby style game, and I think that's exactly what it is fishing derby. For those that don't know what fishing derby is, it was an early 2600 release. I'm hoping to get my 2-year-old last chance order soon. I won't order more until Al is caught up. Yeah, that's probably the smart move. I can't believe you still haven't gotten your last chance order. I feel so bad for you. But you're not the only one. I've still heard other people say that they're waiting still, and that's just so crazy to me. It is really bad all around. I think Al over at Atari Age, the owner kind of guy that makes the games. I think it's tough on him because I know he wants to do good. It's tough on us as customers and collectors because we want to order stuff from him, but you can't because you know you're not going to see anything for quite some time. So again, I didn't talk about this very much, but this is Musky Attack. It's kind of a fishing derby style game. Really, the only option is to set your time, which for some reason isn't working. I don't know why. But you can set your time up and down and kind of... there's also another mode when you adjust your time that makes it to where you can actually catch the muskie too, which is kind of neat. So it's a cool fishing derby style game. I like it. It kind of relaxing, but I think Venture is tops. Animal Keeper, and maybe even Robot Holocaust. We'll have to see when the video comes out. Hey, Ramey, how you doing? Yeah, it's been a long time. Glad to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully the family's okay and everything. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you would. It helps out a lot. But yeah, good to see you, Ramey and Braylon and Cafe Man, and even the faces I don't recognize. Yeah, we're gonna do more. Oh, I've just been busy working and plan was to have a video out this week, but we had a few things pop up. Son got into a car accident, but luckily he's okay. Thank God. So I kind of got put behind a little bit by that and various other things. But yeah, I've been here. I think I was more burned out from making videos in YouTube than I had even thought. Again, let me switch games here. We're going to switch to Tile Smashers. As I had said earlier, I had I had the comments from the videos going straight to my phone and stuff, and I think it's more taxing than you realize to not only do you get the great comments from people and people who legitimately have criticism, but it's also taxing on your mind to get the dumb stuff where people kind of attack you personally straight to your phone and stuff. That kind of takes some fun out of sharing the hobby and stuff. And then, again, coming up with topics for videos every week, trying to do it. I was trying to do 2 videos a week for a while, then 1. And it's a lot. Unless this is your full-time job, which obviously this isn't for me. But yeah, glad to see that you found your way back, Ramey. Good to talk to you. We'll have videos out here very soon. Robot Holocaust review is going to be coming out this upcoming week. And then we'll put out, I don't want to say regular content, but we'll put out more content from there. I think we're at a good place to kind of come back and at least start putting out content again. This is Tile Smashers, probably my most anticipated. Yeah, I'm glad you found it too. I'd pronounce your name, but it's kanji or Japanese. I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah, glad to see you too. I'm glad you found us. Tile Smashers, I had been waiting for this game for quite some time from Video61. And if you haven't seen the video, it was a 7800 paddle game review video where I talked about this a bit. But I was a little disappointed by this one. I still think it's one of the better Video61 games. Let's just jump into it here. You gotta press reset to begin. There we go. So I was very excited for this one because I love Pong style games. Yeah, Vinny was... So me and Vinny came up with the top 100 Atari game list. I don't think either of us was happy with where a lot of the games got placed. Because I think we both have our own opinion. Yeah, I'm essentially back now, Ramey. Don't worry. But I think on top of... I don't think that would have stopped us or him from finishing it. I think he just got wrapped up into other projects, and I think he was hoping to get more views on that video, especially for the amount of work it took in planning And I'll address that question here in just a second, but I think for the amount of planning that went into it, and again, the amount of concessions, because I know if it had just been Vinny or just been me, that list would have been very different. So we ended up conceding a lot, and probably on some things that we wish we wouldn't have. So on top of that, and the video's kind of underperforming, I think, or Vinny felt they were underperforming. I think he just kind of prioritized other things. But I asked him about that, and it sounds like he fully intends on finishing the list. I just don't know when. And yeah, I hope he does. But again, I know he's put a lot of work into that too. Initially, I wish we could have done it differently, and me and him had talked about the various ways we could have approached that top 100 Atari games. And I feel like we could have both maybe presented, and it kind of got all pushed on Vinny, so I feel bad about that. But yeah, that's what's going on with Vinny's top 100. For those that don't know, Vinny is my podcast co-host whenever we do it. We still do it, but it's been a little while, obviously. And he can be found over at the Big and Funky Productions YouTube channel. He does a lot of Atari stuff too, mostly 7800 and VCS related stuff. VCS is in the new, well, I guess it's not new anymore, but new compared to the 2600 VCS 800 set-top box that Atari put out. Now, for the question of Toki being released on the 7800 and do we think it'll ever be released, I hope it will be released, but here's the thing, is I honestly don't think it will. Toki is a game that the 7800 desperately needs. It was a subpar. Yeah, good to see you, Ramy. Glad you could stop in for a second. Toki is a game that would be a great game on the 7800. And even if it didn't control the best, it would still be a top-tier game, because those were the kind of games that the 7800 needed during its release, and it never got. And even today, like, 7800 fans want those kinds of games on the 7800 just to feel justified and vindicated in what the 7800 could have been and what it could have done. But here's the thing: the people that has access to it to produce it is supposedly scared of lawsuit. I don't think you would have to worry too much about lawsuit for releasing Toki. I don't think putting out the old 7800 prototype on a cartridge for the few, let's face it, I don't think it's going to sell tons of copies, but for those few of us that actually want it, I don't think it's going to cause any market confusion for people saying, oh, is this a new official Toki game? Is Toki even a property that people know? Probably not. Sorry about that. So that's just the odd thing. But yeah, a lot of us would want it. A lot of us hardcore collectors would want it. I think the only reason that the owner of the person that owns the rights to Toki would sue is to say that, it's their IP, it's causing market confusion. But I don't think that would be an issue, especially to a few people on Atari age. As we've seen before, if you release something on the Atari age forums, you can be pretty well safe. We've seen stuff from the Big N be released on the Atari age forums and be fine. It'd be different if it hit the Atari age storefront, but I think more than likely what would happen with a release like Toki is it would be sold on the forums, to interested parties who kind of frequent the forums, and that would be it. The other thing now is it's kind of, there are copies of Toki out there. I know that for a fact on cartridge that people own, but now it's kind of a one in a million piece that they can lord over people. The biggest issue with not putting Toki out on the 7800 now is that there is a short window of time for people to actually care about it. Like right now, we care about it. Myself, obviously, our commenter that brought it up, for Atari Age forum goers, whatever the case may be, there's interest there. In 10, 15 years, when a lot of us, the older Atari fans die off, and even longer after that, 30 years, when pretty much everybody that liked the 7800's gone, it won't matter, and it won't be worth anything anyway, because at that point, who's left to care about Toki on the 7800, It would be a fun novelty is all. So they need to put it out. Will they? My heart says yes. My mind's telling me we won't ever see it, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. Let's see. Do any Atari retro videos perform well? As in views? Yeah, it's all relative. But yeah, you got some videos that perform well. I've had videos reach 50,000 plus people, but most don't. It just depends, again, on the topic and how many people, how that does with the algorithm and stuff. But Atari videos, they do fine. If you're thinking about making videos or becoming a YouTube content creator, I wouldn't worry too much about how well they perform or the views or anything, because you gotta get very lucky to get a ton of views and be kind of the upper echelon of YouTube views anyway. Let's see. This is the famous Cousin Vinny. Oh my goodness. Cousin Vinny, yeah, he's over at Big and Funky Productions. So this is not Vinny. I guess my moniker is 7800 Pro Gamer. They know me as John. Pack Billy, what's up? Good to see you. Glad you can make it. So again, Tile Smashers here was my most anticipated Video61 game, and probably the biggest letdown I've had as far as Video61 games goes. And the biggest culprit for that is sort of the screen transition thing that you're seeing, where the screen will transition from the upper tier to the lower tier and back. Because what ends up happening sometimes, if there's a lot of obstacles low on the screen, it'll push your ball down to the tier below, back and forth quite a bit, and it makes for a jarring transition. It's not smooth at all. Also, the fact that in order to essentially beat the levels, you have to clear every single thing, which is normal for breakout style, Pong style games, don't get me wrong. But for this game in general, it's more of the screen transition than anything. There's also some kind of wonky ball physics that happens, which is okay. We didn't have... It's acceptable, I think, for being a homebrew and for everything else. Otherwise, I think graphically it's fine. It reminds me a lot of the Putt 18 mini golf game that Video61 put out. Yes, you can use paddles with this. But I'd have to look at my review to remember if you can use paddles with the 7800 Plus. That I do not know. And there you go. So now we're out of stage 2. But yes, you can use paddles on original hardware. I feel like the paddles didn't work on the 7800 Plus, but I have a video out there called Atari 7800 paddle games. I think it might be 3 7800 paddle games. where I go over all the games and I tested whether paddles work or don't work on several variations of the console. So again, real hardware, paddles definitely work. Plus hardware, they might not. I have a video on the topic that you can go and watch for that information. Alright guys, well with that we've played Musky Attack, Mega Oids, Animal Keeper, Robot Holocaust, Nova Wolf. I know we started kind of early. I just woke up, had the house to myself, and wanted to do a little bit of streaming, but I think I gotta wrap up with this, guys, because the house is getting hot. I want to turn on the air conditioner that's behind me. I appreciate y'all coming in. If you don't mind, any updates on the Bubble Bobble port? I have not heard nothing, but I'll post it in the community tab if there is, Pack Billy. Again, thanks for popping in, guys, and watching a little bit of the live stream. We will have a full Video61 Robot Holocaust review coming up on the channel here very soon. I'm hoping this week. It'll be next week at the latest. Hit the like button on the way out. I have to end the stream now. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. And as always,